In the last decade, China's Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, has captured the world's attention. This episode assesses the BRI's impact on international relations, economics, and geopolitics. To join our global community of information, simply subscribe now. Don't miss out on the chance to turn the world into your playground with Newswaves 24/7. Subscribe today, and let your next adventure begin. China is currently hosting an extravagant celebration to mark the 10th anniversary of its ambitious global venture, the Belt and Road Initiative, BRI. Dignitaries and leaders from around the world have converged in Beijing for a high-level summit, with attendees including Russian President Vladimir Putin and Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban. Even the Taliban government is participating, reflecting the broad scope of the initiative. Chinese media is teeming with coverage, including a 6-part documentary on state television, underscoring the significance of the BRI. The BRI, a cornerstone policy of President Xi Jinping, aims to connect China more closely to the world through substantial investments and infrastructure projects. With a staggering investment of nearly $1 trillion across approximately 150 countries, China asserts that it has reshaped the global landscape, and to a certain extent, they are not entirely wrong. However, Beijing's colossal undertaking has not unfolded precisely as planned, prompting us to question whether it was worth the risk. Has it genuinely been a win-win economic success? From the outset, when the BRI was introduced in 2013 with allusions to the ancient Silk Road, it was apparent that China harbored vast ambitions. The belt signifies overland routes connecting China to Europe through Central Asia, South Asia, and Southeast Asia, while the road pertains to a maritime network linking China to major ports across Asia, Africa, and Europe. The initial phase involved substantial state-driven investments in foreign infrastructure, with the majority of the $1 trillion allocated to energy and transportation projects, including power plants and railways. China marketed this as an economic win-win scenario, promising recipient countries development stimulation and, at home, promoting the BRI as a means to assist Chinese firms, boost the domestic economy, and enhance the nation's reputation. While some goals were partially met, such as the internationalization of the yuan and addressing Chinese companies' overcapacity, China significantly benefited from expanded trade. Numerous agreements granted China access to valuable resources like oil, gas, and minerals, particularly as the BRI expanded its focus to encompass Africa, South America, and the Middle East. Over the past decade, trade between China and BRI countries amounted to approximately $19.1 trillion in goods. This diversification proved critical as China faced mounting tensions with Western nations and their allies. For instance, China, previously reliant on the U.S. for soybean supplies, turned to South American sources, particularly Brazil, after a tariff dispute with the U.S. Furthermore, the BRI facilitated the construction of gas pipelines from Central Asia and Russia, along with oil imports from Russia, Iraq, Brazil, and Oman, thus diminishing China's dependence on Japan, South Korea, and the U.S. China's role as a lender to low- and middle-income countries through the BRI has made it the world's largest international creditor. The true extent of the debt, estimated to be in the hundreds of billions of dollars, remains shrouded in secrecy. This has put countries like Sri Lanka, the Maldives, Laos, and Kenya in precarious positions as they grapple with BRI-related debt. China has offered some relief by restructuring loans and extending deadlines, investing around $240 billion to assist borrowers in meeting their payments. However, China has been resolute in not canceling the debt, which has raised concerns and affected Beijing's global standing. Critics argue that China employs debt trap diplomacy by enticing poorer nations to accept costly projects, potentially allowing China to seize collateral assets in the future. Additionally, China's hidden debts have drawn criticism, as governments remain unaware of the exposure of their borrowing institutions, making it challenging to assess the BRI's costs and benefits accurately. Some BRI projects have been accused of creating wasteful white elephants, encouraging local corruption, worsening environmental issues, exploiting workers, and failing to deliver on promises of generating jobs and prosperity. While there is some responsibility on the part of Chinese lenders and companies for poor risk management and a lack of attention to detail, borrowing countries share blame, either by rushing into deals without proper planning or mismanaging finances. China's approach of offering resources with fewer strings attached has been less burdensome than offers from global lenders or the West, which is an appealing feature for recipient countries. This one-stop-shop approach, combined with the speed of execution, has its appeal, despite potential downsides like labor rights violations and environmental concerns. Nevertheless, China has achieved one of its primary goals, extending its influence worldwide. In addition to constructing railways and highways, China has wielded soft power, positioning itself as a leader in the global south by funding thousands of Chinese university scholarships, cultural exchange programs, and Confucius institutes. The expansion of the BRICS trading bloc has also been attributed to China's influence. Pew Research indicates that, over the past decade, numerous middle-income countries, including Mexico, Argentina, South Africa, Kenya, and Nigeria, have developed increasingly favorable attitudes toward China. Many of these countries have chosen not to align themselves firmly with either the US or China. Within the United Nations, China has rallied other nations to oppose measures critical of Beijing, while participation in the BRI has prompted some EU members to weaken policies critical of China. The BRI has also become a primary tool in China's diplomatic isolation of Taiwan, with several nations shifting recognition from Taiwan to China in the past decade being BRI funding recipients. In Southeast Asia, Cambodia, Laos, and Thailand have been criticized for their response to China's actions in the South China Sea, raising concerns about potential diplomatic repercussions.